Some days are forgettable, just ripples on the water. Others are fault lines that redefine the entire landscape. July 18, 2025 is not just a date on a page, it is a dividing line. It's a moment that will draw a clear distinction between those who are grounded and those who are adrift, those who have built their house on rock and those who have built on sand. When the divine truth signals, on July 18, everything is magnified. It isn't a forecast for casual entertainment. It's not meant to create a spectacle of fear or anticipation. It is a quiet, internal frequency broadcast only for those who have done the inner work to tune their receiver. Your life is a noisy marketplace. Every single day, you are surrounded by vendors shouting for your attention, trying to sell you an identity, a fear, a new desire. The external world is a powerful current pulling you away from the only voyage that truly matters, the one into your own core. So many are desperate for a sign from the heavens, a clap of thunder, a bolt of lightning. But sometimes truth doesn't shout. Sometimes it changes the pressure in the room. Sometimes it speaks in the absolute stillness between your frantic thoughts. The quiet hum before the earthquake is not a threat. It is an invitation to find higher ground. But only those who have trained their spirit to recognize the frequency of truth will understand the invitation. A signal like this isn't processed by the ears. It is recognized by your state of being. To perceive it, you must first clear out the static of your own making, your justifications, your anxieties, your ego's demands. The reason most people will not grasp the weight of July 18 is because they are too busy asking for a map instead of developing an inner compass. Think about it. When your cup is already full of your own opinions, there is no room for wisdom to be poured in. When your hands are full of expectations, you cannot receive the gift that is being offered. This is why the great traditions, the masters, the mystics, the craftsmen, all train in quiet focus. They know that only from a place of inner stability can divine order be perceived. There is a deep work that can only be done in the quiet. A great tree doesn't grow its deep roots in a single sunny afternoon. It strengthens them through the silent, unseen pressure of winter. In the same way, your spirit must be forged in the quiet spaces of your life, preparing for its moment of revelation. People imagine transformation arrives like a tidal wave, sudden and dramatic. But real, soul-level change starts long before the wave is visible. It begins with the small, daily choices. When you choose reflection over reaction, when you choose discipline over distraction, when you choose integrity over convenience. These are not isolated good deeds. They are the evidence that your inner world is recalibrating to a much deeper signal. And what is this signal? It is the steady pull of your own highest truth, the voice that says, ground yourself, simplify, strengthen. It doesn't need to be loud, because force is for the desperate. A quiet, steady signal is for those who are ready to respond. When a master carpenter builds a flawless table, he is not seeking an audience. He is preparing in the solitude of his workshop for a standard of excellence that only he truly understands. The same is true for your spiritual life. You are being prepared for a fundamental shift in reality, and this shift will not be announced in news bulletins. It will not plead for your attention. It will not ask for your consent. It will simply manifest. And when it does, it will not reward the loudest or the most visible. It will elevate the most stable. Imagine an archer who has practiced for 10,000 hours, drawing his bow in silence. The day he hits the impossible shot, people call it a miracle. But they didn't see the decade of silent, repetitive, unseen discipline. It is the same with the human soul. When July 18 arrives, the world will be divided. Some will seem to move with an unshakable calm, clarity and purpose, while others are thrown into a spiral of chaos, blame, and fear. The difference is not luck. It's that those who felt the hum before the earthquake were already standing on solid ground. They didn't need a crisis to tell them to get serious. Their seriousness was a way of life. The world demands proof before it will believe, but the spiritual path is not about demanding proof. It is about becoming proof. If you are always looking for a sign, you will miss the chance to be one. The divine signal is not given to you so you can wait comfortably. It is given so you will build, so you will strengthen, so you will shed the layers of who you are not. The pressure before the shift is an act of grace. It is the chance to build your foundation before the storm makes landfall. You don't need the sky to fall to start building. You only need to feel that deep, inner knowing in your soul and honor it with action. This is why silence is so powerful, not because it's empty, but because it's the only place you can hear the signals that are drowned out by the world's noise. There are truths that only a still spirit can hold, and so the training is not in how forcefully you can argue, but in how deeply you can listen. You have to ask yourself, when life pushes you, do you collapse or do you root deeper? When anxiety rises, do you get swept away or do you breathe and find your center? When the hurt stampedes, do you run with them or do you stand still and ask where they are truly going? Those who have felt the signal understand that a mature life is not about reacting, it is about responding. But you cannot respond from a place of strength if you have not first built that strength in the quiet. Most people live in a state of constant reaction. Their moods are dictated by circumstance. Their fears are their masters. Their attachments are their chains. And when the real storm arrives, they panic. They will cry out, "Why was I not warned?" The truth is, the warning was sent. It was a signal. And they were too busy listening to the noise to notice. Discipline is the process of building your inner structure. It is not self-punishment, it is self-respect. A lighthouse keeper doesn't check the lamp because a storm is guaranteed tonight. He checks it because readiness is his duty. If you wait until the world is in chaos to begin your inner work, you have waited far too long. Your building begins now in the way you get out of bed, in the words you choose to speak, in the information you consume, in the thoughts you refuse to entertain. These are not small things. They are the very bricks and mortar of your inner fortress. And when the great winds blow, only the fortresses built on truth will remain standing. The signal before the shift is also a test of your sincerity. Many people believe they are prepared because they have collected spiritual knowledge, but knowledge that isn't lived is just a heavier form of ego. You may be able to quote the masters, but do you live with their integrity? You may talk about peace, but do you walk in it? The signal is not for the mind to analyze, it is for the spirit to embody, and the spirit can only embody the truth it has become. You must release the addiction to being seen, the need to win arguments, the hunger for praise. All of this is static that blocks the signal. When July 18 arrives, what has been hidden will be revealed. But those who have been building in the quiet will not be shocked. They will not panic. They will take a deep breath and continue their work. Why? Because their direction comes not from external events, but from their inner compass. Their stability comes not from a lack of chaos, but from the strength of their core. Their peace comes not from having no problems, but from having a purpose that is bigger than any problem. And this is what the signal has always been about: your purpose. The divine does not call you to a spectacle, it calls you to a higher state of being, but you cannot ascend while holding on to anchors. So many people are praying for rain, but refusing to let go of their umbrella. You cannot rise if you are clinging to what keeps you down. The signal is an invitation to let go of the blame, the excuses, the stories, the old identities. Only then will you be light enough to be lifted. So, listen not with your ears, but with your entire being. See not with your eyes, but with your inner clarity. Walk not by the world's map, but by your own true north. If you feel that pull, that deep knowing that something immense is unfolding, do not rationalize it away. Do not put it off. Start now. Come back to your breath. Come back to your discipline. Come back to your truth. The signal before the shift is not something you find, it is something you become. And those who become it will not be afraid of the storm. They will be the lighthouse that guides others through it, because they are already anchored by a greater power, the power of the divine. True readiness does not start when the danger is obvious to everyone. It starts when the soul senses the change in pressure, and what the distracted mind cannot see, the trained spirit has already felt. There is a vast difference between reacting to the world and being aligned with it. A person in reaction is always a step behind, always scrambling for footing, always blindsided when the ground moves. But a person who is grounded is never truly surprised. They may not know the exact details of what is to come, but they have already been alerted by their intuition, by their inner sense of things, that feeling you've had, that persistent unease, that something is coming, something huge, something transformative. That is not just your anxiety. That is your spirit's internal alert system saying, it is time to reinforce the structure. What happens on July 18th, 2025 is not a random occurrence, it is a reckoning. It is a convergence point where years of choices, energies, and unspoken truths finally come to the surface. The world will react as if it's a sudden event, but the wise will know this has been building for a very long time. The laws of cause and effect are never suspended. Every decision made, every standard compromised, every act of integrity has been recorded. The universe has never been asleep. You may not have seen the scales, but they have always been balancing. And on sacred days, the scales tip not to punish, but because balance must be restored. What you nurture grows. What you ignore withers. What you build stands. Preparation is not a single act, it is an operating system. The people who will be spiritually unshakable on July 18 will not be the ones who have a sudden epiphany that morning. It will be the ones who have been walking the long, quiet road of inner work, the ones who disciplined their mind when no one was checking, the ones who chose kindness when it was easier to be cynical, the ones who protected their inner light when the world offered the comfort of darkness. These are the souls who have been preparing, not out of fear, but out of knowledge. They knew that when the winds change direction, your feet must already be planted. You cannot learn how to stand in the middle of a hurricane. You must already be grounded. And how do you build this foundation? Not by acquiring more, but by simplifying. Not by building thicker outer walls, but by fortifying your inner core. So many are chasing the same things: wealth, status, followers, validation. But what is the real worth of these things? When the very frequency of the planet shifts, what will you do with a mountain of trophies if your own spirit feels hollow? You cannot cheat spiritual gravity. When the ground rises, only those with a strong core will rise with it. You must let go of the poison of bitterness, of resentment, of all the unhealed wounds. This is the real work. This is the preparation. Because when the energetic curtain is pulled back, and it will be, everything will be seen for what it is. You cannot fake peace. You cannot fake strength. You cannot pretend to be grounded. On that day, your presence will say everything. The world will react. It is programmed to. It reacts to drama. It reacts to fear. It reacts to headlines. But the spirit does not react. The spirit prepares. The spirit knows that divine timing is not based on a calendar, but on readiness. When the signal came that everything changes, it wasn't about your personal schedule. It was about your soul's curriculum. There are chapters in your life you do not write. You are written by them. And this next chapter is not for the dreamer. It is for the builder. It is not for the mind that makes wishes. It is for the soul that makes choices. You have to ask yourself, am I still negotiating with my own excuses? Am I still waiting for someone else to tell me I'm ready? Am I still arguing with the truth? The time for debate is over. The time for building is now. This work looks different for each person. For some, it is finally choosing stillness over the endless scroll. For others, it is facing a pain they have numbed for years. For some, it means cutting ties with people and things that are a constant drain. For others, it means offering forgiveness where it seemed impossible. These are not minor adjustments, they are seismic shifts within you. These are the actions that create an inner world that does not shatter when the outer world shakes. And it will shake. Not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Because everything that has been buried is now coming to the surface. And when it does, you will see two kinds of people: those who are terrified of what is being revealed, and those who have been training for this revelation all along. When a seed is in the earth, it does not panic in the darkness. It trusts the process. It does not fight the soil, it uses it to grow, knowing that the light is its destiny. In the same way, your own preparation has been happening in the dark. Maybe you couldn't explain why you started to feel different, why your old habits lost their appeal, why shallow distractions suddenly felt unbearable. This is not a random phase. This is your soul getting ready. It is the deepest part of you responding to the coming shift. It's as if your spirit is already preparing for a new world that your mind cannot yet see. That is okay. Let your spirit lead the way. Let your mind learn to follow. Many will try to cram at the last minute. They will binge on spiritual teachings, try to force new habits, scramble for a feeling of safety. But you cannot rush grounding. You cannot fast track integrity. You cannot download discipline. These are forged in the fires of time and choice. And if you have already begun this work, even if you feel imperfect and far from your goal, know this: you are already ahead of the curve. Keep going, keep building, because the energy of this new reality cannot be held by a version of you that refuses to grow. The shift is not interested in the mask you wear for the world. It is only interested in the truth of who you are, and that truth is either free or it is buried. The work is the act of unburying it. Every warrior hones their skills long before the battle, not from a place of fear, but from a place of honor. The spiritual builder does not wait for a crisis to get serious. They are always ready, not because they expect disaster, but because strength is the only true home for peace. On July 18, the balance of strength and peace within each person will be tested. Those with no inner peace will be consumed by the chaos. Those with no inner strength will be shattered by the intensity. And so you must build now. Train your mind to find stillness. Train your heart to respond with courage. Train your body to be a vessel of discipline. Train your spirit to trust what it cannot see. Let go of the illusion that you have unlimited time. Time is a finite resource, but presence is always available. And in the present moment, all true building takes place. Your future is not waiting for your wish, it is waiting for your work. You do not have to be perfect. You only have to be present. And from that place of presence, you must build the habits that fortify your spirit, build the boundaries that protect your focus, build the practices that anchor your awareness. These are the foundations you will stand upon when everything around you begins to move. And what about those who dismiss the call? The ones who laugh and say, nothing will happen, it's just a date. They are the ones who will be most profoundly shocked, not because they were not warned, but because their arrogance made them deaf. Denial is not a shield against reality, it is merely a postponement of your preparation. And when reality arrives, it doesn't ask if you're ready, it simply is. If you have done the work, you will see it as a catalyst. If you have not, you will see it as a catastrophe. This is not a judgment from the divine. It is the natural consequence of your own choices. So prepare not in fear, but in reverence. Prepare not because the world is ending, but because a new world is beginning. Prepare not for the world's panicked reaction, but for your soul's deliberate expansion. There is a deep power that awakens when you are truly ready. There is an unshakable strength that activates when you are grounded. There is a peace that arrives when you surrender to the work. And this peace is not found in the noise of the world. It is forged in your practice, in your breathing, in your choices, in your silence. Do not look to the outside world for your safety. Safety is not a place, it is a state of being. It is in how you handle chaos. It is in how you treat people when your patience is tested. It is in the decisions you make when it would be so much easier to stay asleep. Every disciplined choice you make today builds your capacity to stand firm tomorrow. Every time you choose your higher self over your lower impulses, you are laying another brick in your foundation. Every time you say no to what weakens you, you are saying yes to what prepares you. There are two ways to meet July 880 in a state of shock or a state of readiness. The first leads to chaos, the second leads to clarity. And clarity does not come from knowing the future, it comes from having built your present. The energy of that day is already on its way, the tide is rising. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but your spirit feels it. Honor that feeling. Do not drug it with distraction. Do not argue it away with logic. Let it guide you to your inner workshop. Let it pull you deeper into your practice. Let it be the reminder, the work you do in silence is never lost. It is compounded. It is stored. It is integrated. And when the ground begins to shake, you will not, because you were not waiting for the world to confirm what you already knew. You were not reacting, you were ready. You were not looking for safety, you were standing within it. There is a profound error in modern thinking about how real change occurs. Many assume that wanting something is enough, that setting an intention is the work, that if you write down your goals or repeat your mantras, the universe is somehow obligated to deliver. But the sacred laws of life do not respond to your wishes, they respond to your being. Energy does not follow your intentions, it follows your structure. When the divine signal was given that everything changes on July 18, 2025, it was not a memo for the hopeful. It was a call to arms for those who have built themselves in truth, in their thoughts, their words, and their daily actions. The critical mistake is to confuse a clear wish with a solid structure. But the universe, the source, the great current of life, it doesn't listen to the words you say. It reads the signature of the energy you hold. You can want peace while embodying conflict. You can ask for abundance while radiating scarcity. You can declare your readiness for change while refusing the discipline it requires. This is the internal fracture. This is why the divine signal is only received by those whose daily habits, private thoughts, and smallest choices are coherent. This coherence is not achieved by thinking about it. It is built through relentless, honest work. Alignment is not a costume. It is not an attempt to act spiritual. It is not about the rituals you show to others. True internal coherence is invisible to the world, but blindingly obvious to the universe. You cannot lie to energy. You cannot negotiate with resonance. You either have an internally consistent structure or you don't. And when that energetic gateway opens on July 18, 2025, it will not care what you hope to be. It will only amplify what you have actually built yourself to be. This is the ultimate spiritual law. Energy magnifies your existing structure. It does not create a new one for you. Your energetic blueprint is the only thing that matters. The integrity of your inner world is the only measure. This is why the work is not about talking more. It is about building more. If you say you want stability, but you constantly choose drama, your structure is weak. If you say you are ready for more responsibility, but you live in blame, your structure is weak. If you say you are a force for good, but you engage in gossip, complaint, and judgment, your structure is weak. These are not minor flaws, they are critical structural faults. And when a flood of divine energy pours into the system, it looks for stable structures. It empowers those who are whole. It elevates those who are sincere, not perfect, but sincere. The world applauds the polished, the loud, the ambitious, but the universe promotes the grounded, the sincere, the quietly disciplined. There is a sacred formula at play: thoughts are word, the action, take your reality. If your thoughts say, I am strong, but your words are full of complaint and your actions are born of fear, your reality is one of weakness. If your thoughts say, I am ready, but your words are defensive and your actions are reactive, your reality is one of chaos. And no matter how fervently you state your intentions, if your being is fractured, your energy will be out of harmony with the coming shift. And when a structure is not in harmony with the current, it shatters. The planet is not just changing its mind, it is changing its operating frequency. The coming events are not designed to test how clever you are, they will test how solid you are. This is why so many who appear successful on the outside will be shaken to their core, while those who have been quietly building their inner world will rise with an effortless strength. There is a velocity to spiritual energy that only a still heart can withstand. There is a clarity so bright that only the sincere can look at it. And on July 18th, when this clarity intensifies, the quality of your inner structure will not be a private matter, it will be revealed. Many will experience this as intense pressure, a feeling of being exposed. Because when the frequency of truth rises, anything built on a lie is put under unbearable stress. This is the great test, and it is not about performance, it is about integrity. It will not ask how many spiritual books you own, it will ask, did you live what you learned? It will not ask how many people followed you, it will ask, how many times were you true to yourself when no one was watching? It will not ask how loud you prayed, it will ask, how solid did you build? A solid structure is quiet, but its effect is world-changing. There are 3 pillars that create this structure: brutal honesty, daily discipline, and active surrender. Honesty means you live by your own truth, even when it's uncomfortable. You say no to things that violate your spirit, even if they please the crowd. You honor the promises you make, especially the ones you make to yourself. Discipline means you do the work, regardless of your mood. You get up and train when your body wants to rest. You breathe through your anger instead of becoming it. You are the master of your energy, not its slave. And surrender means you release the illusion of control, not from weakness, but from a place of ultimate trust. You stop trying to force life to fit your plan. You stop insisting on your own timing. You align with the greater current and move with it, even when your mind can't see the destination. Most people try to wrestle with energy. They try to hustle their way to a higher state of being. But force creates resistance, flow creates power. You must become the vessel through which energy can move without obstruction. You must remove the blockages: ego, resentment, impatience, comparison. These things create cracks in your foundation. And when the frequency of the world shifts, a cracked foundation crumbles. But when you are solid and clear, you are like a well-built channel, free of debris, pure in your structure, and ready to direct the flow of divine power. There is a sacred timetable unfolding, and like a great ship that leaves at a precise time, so does the soul's journey. But you cannot rush to the dock at the last minute. You must have been preparing for the voyage all along. Your preparation is your discipline. Your preparation is your integrity. Your preparation is your unseen choices. What you build when no one is watching determines how you will stand when everyone is. And on July 18, the light will not just illuminate the world, it will shine through you, revealing your structure or exposing its faults. There will be no in between. Energy does not compromise with half-truths. It flows through coherence, or it shatters incoherence. That is why this moment, this breath, is your construction site, not tomorrow, not when you feel more motivated now. Because the law is absolute, you will rise to the level of your inner structure, not your stated desires. You will be met according to your readiness, not your hopes. And you will be tested not on what you intended to build, but on what you have actually built. You must ask yourself, have I built the kind of person who can withstand this next level of reality, of truth, of responsibility? Or am I still hoping the world will change so that my weak structure will be enough? You are not waiting for the energy is waiting for you. The divine current is always flowing. The real question is, are you a worthy vessel? Or are you still leaking your power through unconscious habits, a scattered mind, and emotional reactivity? Your ability to hold and direct energy is your spiritual maturity. And maturity is not about age, it is about accountability. It is about choosing to build over and over again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. On July 18, the divine current will surge. Some will rise because their internal structure is sound. Others will break because their foundation was an illusion. You must build your inner temple now, not with words, but with actions, not with theories, but with choices. You must clean the debris from your mind. You must reinforce the walls of your heart. You must open the gates of your soul to allow the current to flow through. Because energy, sacred, real, and powerful, does not flow into chaos, it flows into order. Not the order of rigid control, but the order of a well-built, coherent structure. This requires a ruthless, loving honesty. You must look at your life and ask, where is my structure still weak? Where am I still pretending? Where am I still choosing comfort over strength? The answers may not be pleasant, but they are the blueprint for your freedom. You cannot fix a foundation you refuse to inspect. You cannot strengthen what you pretend is already strong. But when you do, when you see yourself with unflinching clarity and love yourself enough to do the work, the entire universe conspires to support you, not because it's rewarding you, but because you have finally built a structure worthy of the current. And this is the final secret. A strong structure is not something you build once, it is something you maintain daily. Every moment is a chance to reinforce it. Every breath is an opportunity to check for cracks. Every choice is a test of its integrity. Like a great building, you don't build it and then forget about it. You must tend to it, maintain it, strengthen it, with care and with constant awareness. Because the life you live, the reality you experience, depends entirely on the quality of your structure. When the sacred day arrives, the world will not transform you, it will reveal you. The flood of energy will not create your strength, it will test it. And so the most vital work you can do is not to hope, not to fear, but to build. Not in theory, but in practice. Not for an audience, but for your soul. Not to impress the world, but to express your truth. Because in the end, it will not be your wishes that carry you through the storm. It will be the foundation you built. It will be your silence. It will be your structure.